In the desert, the sun is your ultimate enemy, but overcoming searing heat and thirst is just the beginning. Predators here strike with fascinating bursts of speed. A world of action is hiding in the blink of an eye. In Namibia's ancient desert, temperatures soar to 55 degrees. And yet, unique creatures have conquered these searing dunes. In the wilderness, you're either quick or you're dead. The annual rainfall index is less than an inch. But in reality, it just never rains. So predators here have to rely on their prey for moisture. And in such an open environment, speed isn't a bonus, it's a necessity. The shovel-snouted lizard is one of the fastest on the dunes. But being fast isn't as easy as it looks. Clever adaptation is essential for speed in this environment. The faster you move, the faster you sink into the sand. But the shovel-snouted lizard can run at 1 meter per second. For her size, that's amazing speed. 20 times her body length in 1 second. Long hind legs are driven by powerful thigh muscles that work like an engine. The rear stride length is much longer than the front. So it runs on only 2 legs instead of 4, using the front legs to steer. But it's the foot structure that makes all the difference. The back foot's large area is a paddle that pushes the body forward, while long tendons act like springs, adding ride height. It uses this speed to kill. The prey provides the lizard with all the energy and liquid it needs. But its challenges go beyond just food and water. It's hot. Hot as Hades. The sand can reach 60 degrees. So the lizard does a dance to release heat. Its feet would cook, so it gives each one a break. But this tactic has its limits. It's time to find a cooler spot. The flattened snout is the perfect wedge for a sand dive. The nostrils are set back, so sand doesn't enter the nasal cavity. Strong forearms clear the way forward, while the powerful hind legs kick sand to the side, swimming the lizard to a cooler, safe zone. The lizard can remain buried 45 centimeters down for 24 hours. It's also a good way to escape predators. These dunes aren't exactly crawling with life, so all potential prey needs to be investigated. But not all opportunities are what they seem. This snake can travel at speeds of almost 30 kilometers per hour. Only the black mamba is faster. This is the Peringue's adder, also known as the sidewinder. Sidewinding is the equivalent of the horse's gallop in the snake world. It's the fastest way to get around. It's also the best way for a snake to cross loose, shifting sand. In sidewinding, only two parts of the snake are on the ground simultaneously. With a head and tail firmly anchored, it throws its body forward in a loop. Then the head is thrust forward. As soon as that lands, the tail is brought up, and so on. This movement is like a foot pushing down, allowing the snake to move forward without sliding, even on shifting sand. Sidewinding also cools the snake. It reduces the body's contact with the hot sand, much like the thermal dance does for the shovel-snouted lizard. But the sidewinder doesn't use the speed to chase down prey. The lizards are just too fast. Instead, the snake sets up an ambush. Although snakes don't have ear openings, they can hear vibrations via two specialized bones in the skull. When prey is close, a burst of muscle activity generates tension between the ribs. The elastic recoil propels the head and fangs forwards at tremendous speed. A shovel-snouted lizard arrives on the scene. He stops to pick up a moth. Big mistake. In the scorched desert, the lizard is not just a meal, but an important source of water too. "60 kilometers away, the dunes meet the icy Atlantic Ocean, creating the skeleton coast. Almost everything has abandoned this coastline, even humans. Now it's just a town of ghosts. The brown hyena is the only large predator that survives here. And their only competitors are black-backed jackals. At dawn, the scorched desert gets lighter, but even meaner. And there are six-legged tigers on the prowl in these mean streets. The temperature soars. Only the hardest survive. In this frontier town, it's not only about how fast you can run, it's about how quick you can draw your weapon. The tiger beetle has evolved supersized jaws for a killer bite, even for much bigger prey. Fights are often to the death here, even against their own kind. At over 6 centimeters long, these are the world's largest tiger beetles, by a long shot. Some tiger beetle species can run at 2 meters per second. For its size, that's the equivalent of a human running at 900 kilometers per hour. But when 2 tiger beetles clash, it's the size of the jaws that counts. It's over in seconds, but slowed down, the fight becomes a gruesome spectacle. The massive mandibles resemble a scimitar, but with a torturous addition of dagger-like spikes. They open to 180 degrees and overlap when closed, so they can take on large prey items with crushing force. But unlike a hunt, in a fight, it's not over quite so fast. Strong armor covers their body, protecting the soft organs inside. This exoskeleton is made from chitin, a stronger version of keratin, the same substance that human fingernails, rhino horns, and horses' hooves are made from. Even the massive mandibles can't pierce it. But there's a chink in the armor. These plates have joints. Like wrestlers, each tries to gain the upper hand. The threat to his territory must be eliminated. A bite to the neck, and it's all over. The mandibles penetrate between the thorax and abdomen, and the crushing force severs the nervous system. Death follows swiftly. Fog from the cold Atlantic. The whole town is enveloped like it never existed. But the fog doesn't make it far inland. It's just too hot. In the first dune fields, there's a surprising visitor. Normally a hunter of the open plains, this big cat ventures onto the sand out of desperation. Summer has come and gone, and still no rain has fallen. This isn't the savannah, but the spotted cat is surprisingly well adapted to conditions in the dunes. The cheetah may be the fastest land mammal, but few have seen it operating in conditions as tough as these. Great springbok herds would graze on these plains after summer rains. But there's not a springbok in sight. Cheetahs are surprisingly efficient in soft sand. They spread their toes wide for better balance and traction. The large surface area of the paws and ridged foot pads allow them to push against the sand rather than sinking in, thus maintaining acceleration. Sweat glands between the pads, the only sweat glands a cheetah has, go some way to shedding heat. But it's still hot work. Every effort raises body temperature. It's already 32 degrees. The cheetah has to shed excess heat now. New research shows that the vertebral venous plexus, a system of veins between the shoulder blades, is much more extensive than in any other cat. In times of heat stress, there is an increase of blood flow to this area. So while panting cools blood around the mouth and tongue, the cheetah's back serves as a radiator that allows for convection, radiation, and evaporation, rapidly shedding heat that would otherwise be fatal. The delicate balance between overheating and speed is pushed to the edge in the desert, and there's nowhere to hide. Then he spots something. He can't reach 100 kilometers per hour in the soft sand, but he's at full power. It's a mouse. In a time of plenty, it would be a mere plaything, but in the scorched desert, it's a great prize. Enough hunts like this, and he may survive until the springbok return. The Namib Desert is over 45 million years old. The sand dunes at 300 meters are some of the biggest in the world. Towering, barren barriers. And yet home to more unusual residents. This is a chameleon with a difference. It lives on the ground, and it's the world's fastest. It needs to be. It's got one eye out for predators, while the other is searching for prey. No trees, no shade, no water. This chameleon has to have a plan to beat the heat if it's to survive. Exposed sand and baking sun. It's a death trap. But the Namakwa chameleon is a desert veteran. Its toes are fused to form glove-like feet, perfect for climbing tufts of grass to escape the heat. But the toes can also spread, and like snowshoes, they provide a bigger surface area to prevent the chameleon from sinking down, while claws provide grip. A fast pursuit is key to finding prey and avoiding roasted feet. But despite all this complex engineering, this chameleon can't stay out on the sand all day. It's got to find a cooler spot. Fast. This dung beetle is the perfect protein snack. But right now, the chameleon has other priorities. Like surviving for another day. It must escape the sun, or find a way to beat it. By changing color, the chameleon can control its body temperature. Layers of color cells, or chromatophores, are wired to the nervous system and constantly respond to temperature. If the chameleon wants to warm up, its body sends a signal to these cells, which turn a darker color, allowing the skin to absorb heat. When the chameleon wants to cool down, the cells become lighter, reflecting the sun's energy, cooling the chameleon. But the sun is still winning. If the chameleon doesn't cool, he'll dehydrate and die. He has to get off the ground. When the sun loses its edge, it's time to hunt. This is one of the dune's fastest creatures. But this darkling beetle is also food. Catching it is the ultimate challenge. It's so fast, its legs are invisible. It can cover 50 times its own body length in a second. That's 10 times the relative speed of an Olympic sprinter. This may be the world's fastest chameleon, but it's eating the beetle's dust. Large hind legs and long femurs give the beetle power and a long stride. Legs spin faster than the eye can see. Long tarsi, or feet, push off the ground and lift the beetle above the hot sand, while its speed creates cooling headwinds. It's very difficult to catch. The chameleon's legs don't move as fast, but it has something up its sleeve. The complex muscular tongue shoots out of the mouth at top speed, while a bulbous sticky end targets the prey. It leaves the mouth as a bullet shape, but muscles cup the tip as it hits home. The cup fastens around the prey, creating a suction effect, guaranteeing one more meal. And any extra fat reserves are stored in the base of its tail, in anticipation of tough times ahead. In a fraction of a second, the tables are turned. But the chameleon isn't hunting alone. A new predator arrives. The chameleon's not keen to share his beetle bounty. But the caracal is desperate. The scorched desert is a tough hunting ground. Luckily for the chameleon, the caracal has picked up a different kind of scent. Her finely tuned senses are fired up. Humans have only 6 ear muscles, but each caracal ear is controlled by 20. They can move and tilt the ears independently. 3 main muscular groups work separately. The superior raises the ear. The posterior moves the ear outwards and back, and the cervico lowers the ear downwards. Large ear dishes capture sound waves and direct them into the ear canal. Its ear canals are proportionately longer than those of humans and dogs, and are far more sensitive to sound. But there's not much viable prey around. She's wasting valuable energy. A different hunting strategy is needed, and fast. She ventures out of her comfort zone and onto the lowland plains. Surface water is a luxury in the Namib, but Namakwa sand grouse have a secret supply system. These birds are the long-haul jets of the desert. They will fly 150 kilometers for water. With a cruising speed of 80 kilometers an hour, they can fly the width of the Namib Desert just to refuel. With over a year of no rain, animals are clutching to a thin lifeline. But thanks to an incredible adaptation, male sand grouse can carry water home to their chicks in their very own cargo hold. These birds are equipped with special belly feathers, which have thousands of tiny filaments that act like a sponge. When the feathers are dunked, water is absorbed into the spaces between each filament. The sand grouse can carry half a teaspoon of water at a time, liquid cargo they'll take back to the nest. Evaporation is fast, but their top flying speeds ensure a successful delivery to thirsty chicks. The sand grouse are also the perfect lure for a hungry caracal. But they've perfected the art of the speedy getaway. Long pointed wing feathers give the sand grouse a powerful 12-inch wingspan. The wing is much longer than it is wide, which provides a large vertical lift area, great for a quick takeoff. The caracal makes a beeline for the sand grouse's waterhole. The shy cat is rarely active in the day. But in the harsh desert, predators don't stick to mealtimes. She knows that where there's water, there's prey. She may be slight, but she's got a secret weapon. Timing's just off. The sand grouse are airborne, but she's not done yet. Muscle-bound hind legs act like powerful twin engines to propel the caracal 2 meters into the air. Strong shoulder joints swipe long forelegs in wide arcs, while her splayed paw with inch-long claws increases the chance of an impact. A supple spine with 30 vertebrae, 6 more than humans, can adjust during freefall, meaning the caracal almost always lands upright. and a cartilage buffer system is essential for landing without injuring her secret weapons. Another miss. Sand grouse are off. But greater forces are about to give this caracal a lucky break. It's been 14 months without rain. Few animals are active in this desperate period. But change is in the air. A flock of sociable weavers are getting ready to breed. The waterhole has kept them alive so far, but they're being watched. She has to rely on camouflage and cover to get as close as possible. A silent ambush is key. The caracal's feet are designed for a surprise attack. The fur between her foot pads consists of stiff hairs, providing muffled footfalls. This allows her to get within meters of prey before triggering the alarm. She's off. The caracal's powerful hind legs and fine-tuned reflexes make her agile. The powerful slap has injured the weaver. But meals don't come easily in the desert. It's over in seconds. Thanks to her streamlined speed and agility, she can finally enjoy a meal. The few lucky weavers that escaped the caracal's claws have completed their nest building. But someone else has been following their progress. Speed is the Cape Cobra's obvious trump card. Whatever prey he does find in the desert will struggle to sidestep his lightning strike at a cool 2 meters per second. But this is his stealthy approach. Rough bark gives good grip, leading him to the scent of helpless chicks. But it's not as simple as it seems. Sociable weavers build the largest nests in the world, and each is home to hundreds of breeding birds. This haystack apartment block consists of countless separate nest tunnels, but it's built like a fortress. The entrances face the ground, making it almost impossible for predators to get in. The weavers won't risk their lives fighting off the intruder. The cobra's too quick for that. But its speed is compromised by this obstacle course. Its scales are smooth and streamlined, and it's struggling to get purchase under the nest. There's a weak point. Food is all around, but the problem is getting it. The backup plan is length and strength. The cobra anchors a coil in one empty nest, while stretching into another. But not all the chambers are occupied. A forked tongue works overtime, picking up scents. The giant nest is a complex maze. He scents a chick nearby. Potent venom paralyzes and kills the chick in seconds. Exhausted, he falls to the ground. The weaver was a tasty appetizer, but now the cobra is in search of his main course. A maze of underground burrows on the desert plains are home to hundreds of African ground squirrels. Today, the squirrels are on the Cape Cobra's menu. But these feisty rodents have had their fair share of snake attacks, and they're not about to drop their guard. The cobra has blown its cover. Squirrel colonies usually work together to fend off predators. But this female has decided to go it alone. She fluffs her tail to appear bigger. It distracts the cobra and shields her body from the snake's strikes. Sharp teeth deliver a quick bite to its tail. The cobra's strike would kill her in minutes. Her cocky confidence takes a hit as she's struck. But it's just a blade of grass. It's a reality check. She needs to back down. The action has caught the attention of a far meaner neighbor. The squirrel's lost her nerve. But lucky for her, this yellow mongoose comes to the rescue. Snakes to the mongoose are like peanuts to the squirrel. This is when the cobra will use his speed. They are each other's prey, but they're also deadly opponents. The mongoose circles, waiting for a weakness. A quick strike, needs a Matrix-style getaway. It's a battle of speed. The cobra tries intimidation, but it's not enough. Sooner or later, there's got to be contact. It's a winning blow. He's been spared from becoming mongoose dinner. The mongoose is immune to a certain quantity of the cobra's venom, but right now, he's not hungry enough to push those limits. The heat is loosening its grip. This could be a turning point for the desert's inhabitants. But it's an isolated storm and only quenches the desert's thirst for a few short days. But the moisture has signaled the start of a termite hatch. For some, it's a change of fortune, a feast. Winged termites head out to start new colonies. But around the nest, workers have a busy schedule. They only surface to forage when conditions are perfect, and the hint of rain has triggered a harvest. Powerful jaws snip dry grass and drag it back for stockpiling. They must work fast. Termites are near the bottom of the food chain. But a predator is already at work. A termite-eating spider is setting up shop, burying itself in preparation. In the blink of an eye, the spider bursts out of hiding. It's not by chance that it knows exactly when the termites leave the nest. The spider waits beneath the sand, upside down, so the feet and mouth are at the ready. Vibrations from the prey are picked up by setae, hair-like projections on the mouthparts and feet. This is a trigger to approaching prey. The extra-long hind legs push off the sand with great leverage, launching the spider out of hiding. Speed is key. If one termite spots the spider, it'll emit a warning pheromone, instructing the colony to bunker down. So the spider needs to be on the termite before he's seen. Extreme speed makes this possible. The spider handles the termite with its forelimbs, assessing whether it's a plump enough meal. Hooked fangs pierce the carapace. A fatal bite behind the head. The termite is immobilized before it can raise the alarm. But some fight back. This is a soldier termite, bigger than the rest. But it's no match for the speedy spider. It'll kill up to 20 termites in one hunt. And it stashes them under the sand in a custom-built larder. After paralyzing its prey, the spider weaves an underground sac around the termite. The spider's legs don't stick to its own web, but it's like glue to anything else. The spider will store dead termites here for weeks before they're finally eaten. Alarm bells are ringing. The workers scurry for cover. The spider's hunt is over. But he manages one last kill. The desert surrounding the storm's footprint is bone dry again. It's what the animals have been waiting for. But for some, it's too little, too late. The rainy season didn't deliver, and the dry season is going to be unbearable. But the storm has thrown a lifeline. It's filled a small pan or clay depression, the only water for miles. Springbok arrive, and other herds materialize out of the mirage. The sand grouse arrive en masse to refuel. But this water has a price. The cheetah finally sees the springbok. A pale, chanting goshawk eyes the sand grouse flocks. The prey will disappear with the water, so predators have to be quick. The goshawk makes a move. But the sand grouse haven't loaded up yet. The goshawk attacks. And the cheetah heads in for the kill. The desert hunters have evolved incredible abilities to strike at speed. But their prey has, out of necessity, developed extraordinarily speedy getaways. But if the past is anything to go by, the desert hunters won't go hungry for long. In the forest's dark underworld, there's a lot more happening than meets the eye. Weird predators lurk in the shadows. And when disaster strikes, it's blindingly fast. A world of action is hiding in the blink of an eye. At first, the rainforest seems serene, quiet. But below is a world rarely visited by man. A realm of shadows and mist. An underworld of hidden threats. Full of creatures that move silently across the forest floor. Hiding up trees, or sailing through the air. Lying in ambush, waiting for the strike. One of the forest's most efficient hunters is on the move. The forest cobra is Africa's largest. Some grow to be 10 feet long. And now, it's hungry. The cobra, like most snakes, doesn't see very well. But then it doesn't have to. Using its tongue and receptor pits in the roof of its mouth, it can sense the chemical signature of its prey. An olive toad. The forest cobra has a lightning strike. But for now, it's time for silence and stealth. It knows dinner is nearby, but it's not sure where. So it waits for the toad to move. The cobra is onto it. Bursts of speed versus relentless stalking. This toad's legs are about half its body length. Powerful thigh muscles act like springs, releasing bursts of energy that enables the toad to hop massive distances. It should be safe in the water. But forest cobras are excellent swimmers too. Now the toad is in the sights of a different predator. In this shadowy underworld, if the cobra doesn't make the kill, the African bullfrog probably will. The snake plays second fiddle, cheated of its dinner by another fearsome predator. Even a cobra would think twice about challenging this monster. Despite appearances, its immense bulk is not obesity. The African bullfrog is a powerhouse of muscle. Strong hind legs and long feet shunt the bullfrog off the ground. At over 2 kilograms, it launches through the air like a cannonball. The wide mouth with toothy odontoids on the lower jaw is like a gin trap. Its strike is as fast as it is powerful. Like anywhere on Earth, rain in the jungle is the elixir of life, and it's just as important to the bullfrogs. For most creatures here, the rain has to be tolerated. The normal routines grind to a halt. For others, it's a sign of rebirth. In certain places, the ground moves. These African bullfrogs spent most of the year in a subterranean chamber, waiting in a state of dormancy. Now, they break out of a cocoon of old skin cells, ready for a new chapter. They're awake for one particular mission. The storm summons hundreds of them from the depths. And they all emerge simultaneously. After all those months underground, there are only two things on these giant amphibians' minds: food and mating. But before they get down to either, there's the matter of dominance. This is the heavyweight division. The field of battle is a shallow, seasonal pool. Larger males claim prime spots and wait for a young Turk to make his play. There's a lot at stake here. Winner takes all. Losers don't get to mate. The legs only make up a quarter of the body mass, but they propel the bullfrog like a battering ram. The odontoids in the lower jaw are the primary weapons, capable of inflicting serious damage. These battles often leave the losers maimed or dead. This big male has won sole rights to all the females in his territory. Once he's mated, the male heads out in search of a good meal. African bullfrogs will eat insects, rodents, reptiles, birds, and other amphibians. Like this unfortunate toad, who's just evaded a hunting cobra. Despite the bulk, he's a very quick hunter. He has to be. The toad is nimble too. With legs approximately 45% of its body length, toads can jump around 20 centimeters at a time. But what of its hunter, the bullfrog? Bullfrog's legs make up 60% of its total length, and its jump can reach 10 times its size, almost 2.5 meters. The entire jump lasts only 1/5 of a second. It's a lucky escape. But with the undergrowth crawling with bullfrogs, how long will its luck hold out? This one is waiting in ambush. And he's even bigger. And even faster. The bullfrog's sharp odontoids quickly crush the life from his hapless prey, and the toad is swallowed whole. But not all hunters are slimy here. Some are 6 inches wide and hairy. This is one of the most painful biters in the animal kingdom, with the addition of fangs and venom. The orange baboon tarantula, one of the most aggressive of the species. The orange baboon tarantula sets up shop in a burrow. But it's not just a home, it's a trap too. She's laying silk threads across the door to detect minute vibrations from potential victims. But the threads aren't designed to catch. They're an early warning system that something is approaching. Tiny hairs on her body are extremely sensitive and can also detect the slightest movement. The burrow is complete. Just in time for the day's first customer. But this locust isn't as defenseless as it looks. The locust is famous for jumping 20 times its body length. That's like a human jumping 30 meters. How does it do it? The locust is a living catapult. It presses its femur down fast, compressing the tibia. The sudden release of pressure is like letting go of a stretched rubber band. The locust's extraordinary jump is a critical skill in the dark underworld. Because it's not just the tarantula that's hungry. The gecko isn't much bigger than its quarry, but a juicy locust is too good to pass up. This tiny lizard has a number of tricks up its sleeve. Geckos have a remarkable adaptation that allows them to stick to surfaces like adhesive. Each toe contains hundreds of flap-like ridges called lamellae. On each ridge are millions of hairs, 10 times thinner than a human's. Each hair divides into smaller hairs, so tiny that they interact with the molecules of the climbing surface. They're capable of startling acceleration. They can cover 3 feet in a second. But the gecko has made a grievous error. And the hunter is stopped in its tracks. The gecko is quick, but not quick enough. With 8 legs, the spider is able to hold it in place until it can deliver the strike. Like a switchblade, the fangs extend outward to bite. Muscles around the venom glands contract, forcing venom through huge, hollow fangs. The dying gecko will be stored in the back of the burrow for later consumption. The forest cobra lost out on the toad, but it's still on the hunt. Sunset's approaching. The cobra decides to explore an abandoned train tunnel. Bats. It's time to leave the cave to hunt themselves. It looks like the cobra has arrived too late. These bats are just emerging from torpor, a state of low metabolism they enter when food supplies are low. They need to move and stretch to get their flight muscles working again. Letting go before they're ready to fly means they'll plummet to the tunnel floor. Most of the bats are limbered up and leaving. But this one's not quite there yet. For a bat, this is the worst-case scenario. not a moment too soon. Bats are the only true flying mammals. Their flight is completely different from that of birds. A bat does flap its wings. But while bird wings have feathers projecting back from thicker bones, bats have thinner, more flexible membrane wings, stretched between complex finger bones. The flexibility means their wings can take different shapes, generating lift, increasing maneuverability, and allowing them to make hairpin turns. Thousands of bats pour into the sky in search of food. Bats may be agile flyers, but they're not the only ones. The red-tailed hawk is a keen-eyed, efficient hunter. 2.5 pounds of agile muscle. It can plunge at speeds of up to 160 kilometers an hour and pick a bat from the sky. The bats, as fast as they are, can't match this raptor for pure speed. But a red-tailed hawk has only 2 talons. It has to eat its catch on the wing. Most bats make it past the hawk and into the night. Their special wings make them efficient hunters. But their prey respond with hardware of their own. The greater wax moth has tympanic membranes, or eardrum-like structures on its thorax, directly connected to auditory nerves. This species has the most sensitive hearing on Earth. It allows them to hear the bats long before the bats can sense them, so the moths can go silent and slip away undetected. Bats use sonar, or echolocation, to find prey in the dark. They generate high-pitched sounds in their larynx and project them through their mouth. When the sound wave bounces back, they can extrapolate the location of their target from the precise way the sound echoes inside their ears. But if bat echolocation is so good, how did this bat manage to fly right by his dinner? The tiger moth has evolved its own special defense. A jamming device. Instead of just listening, the tiger moth's tympanic membranes can generate a stream of high-pitched clicks, which confuses the bat's sonar system. But not all the species here tonight have these advanced defenses, and those that don't are in trouble. The bat doesn't use its mouth. Using its wingsuit, it scoops the prey with its tail. It sacrifices aerodynamics to form a cup like a baseball mitt. Then it transfers the moth to its mouth. All in a fraction of a second. Back on the forest floor, the cobra is still on the hunt. This time, hot on the scent of new prey. Brown rat. It can't fly like a bat, and it can't leap like a toad. It should be an easy target. Sometimes you set an ambush, sometimes you just chase your prey. The cobra tracks the smell of the rat. Once the cobra's venom is coursing through the rat's veins, there's no reason to hold on to it any longer. As the rat dies, it's already being digested from the inside by the venom. Cobras don't chew, they swallow their prey whole. Their jaws dislocate to make the opening wider, and they lubricate their prey with saliva so they go down easier. The saliva also contains powerful digestive enzymes. Finally, the cobra has succeeded. The forest underworld may contain lightning-fast terrors like the cobra and tarantula, but there's an even darker layer down below. At the lowest parts of the forest, it's damp, the home of the weird. But the velvet worm has to be one of the strangest. This tiny caterpillar-like animal lives in the shadows. As a result, velvet worms are almost impossible to find. Legs with retractable claws run the length of the 10-centimeter body. The skin is waterproof, useful in the moist depths of the rainforest. But the strangest thing about the velvet worm is its method of attack. It's a deadly underworld predator, and this one has picked up the presence of a beetle. It's close enough to deploy its secret weapon. To the side of its antennae are two modified legs called oral tubes. Connected to these are a pair of large slime glands, so large that they account for over 10% of the velvet worm's body mass. Muscles contract around the glands, shooting a sticky slime out of the tubes, aimed at the beetle. Of course, it doesn't always hit the bullseye on the first try. But the velvet worm has plenty of slime. As soon as the goo hits home, it starts to harden. And the prey is stuck. Now all that remains is for the velvet worm to rip off pieces of prey, soften them up with digestive saliva, and then down the hatch. Or whatever passes for the hatch in a velvet worm. As you move deeper into the forest underworld, things become more and more surreal. Light plays tricks. Plants look like animals. And some animals look like plants. A whip snake's eyeballs are unusually horizontal. And giant insects pose as part of the forest. These are all attempts to hide or to hunt, preludes to speedy attacks or escapes. But one alien form is all hunter. And the praying mantis is a bloodthirsty one at that. Mantids rely on deception and camouflage to get close. But it can move quickly into position. In more ways than one. Locusts have an impressive leap too. They're heavy-bodied and strong. But this one doesn't notice the stealthy approach. Claws can grip on vertical surfaces. Weapons are poised. Plants don't strike like lightning, but this one does. The pincers are immensely strong, and decapitation is the coup de grace. The mantid has an insatiable hunger. Everything is consumed. Night in the dark underworld is also weird. This is the sound of the greater galago, a small primate known as the bush baby. It awakens at night to find food. Tree sap forms a large part of its diet. The bush baby's hands and feet are definitely made for gripping and climbing, but it does use an additive. It improves its technique by urinating on its feet. It's all about grip. The long, slender fingers and toes have flat discs of thickened skin to aid in traction. A shorter index finger helps with grip on bigger branches. The odd finger out is the toilet claw, used for grooming and cleaning its ears. Its large eyes give it the equivalent of night vision. Its big, bat-like ears can pick up the flutter of insect wings, of which there are many tonight. As it happens, there's more to the bush baby's diet than tree sap. Despite the cuddly appearance, it's a nimble predator. One study suggests that its jumping muscles are 9 times more efficient than a frog's. It's almost as good as flying. The key to its leaps are the legs and tail. The bush baby's tail is longer than its entire head and body. It balances the animal before its jump, then acts as a rudder during flight. Its hind leg muscles are unusually long and make up 10% of its body weight, twice as much as ours do. A bush baby has been observed jumping more than 6 meters from one tree to another. Turns out, the hunter isn't interested in moths at all. It's got its eyes on a juicier target. The rat's a good climber, but compared to the bush baby, it's a beginner. While this hunter is on rat patrol, his family watch and learn. One last leap, and he's got it. The rodent never saw it coming. Bush babies don't share their meals, and this rat catcher is no different. The next morning, on the fringes of the underworld, the rising sun intrudes on the deep shadows. But for some, it's the perfect time to hunt. This slender mammal usually hunts at night, but when the weather's cool enough, it'll venture out during the day. It's cryptically spotted, better for blending with the undergrowth. Its larger cousin, the leopard, kills less than 40% of the prey it goes after. Lions, only 30%. This is the serval, and it only takes 2 attempts to get something to eat. It weighs about 12 kilograms, but it's fast. It's the second fastest cat after the cheetah. If you compare the serval's proportions to those of other large cats, it looks almost misshapen. Its legs, relative to the rest of its body, are the longest of any cat. This, along with its long neck, earns it the nickname giraffe cat. If we had ears the same proportion to our head as servals do, they'd be the size of dinner plates. Because it's not that big, the serval goes after smaller prey, like rodents, birds, reptiles, and even insects. This solitary hunter can actually use echolocation to find its prey, hidden in the undergrowth. One of the reasons the serval has such a high hit rate is that it doesn't waste much energy. It homes in on prey using its acute hearing, and only pounces when it's close enough to be sure. Like so many master predators, the serval begins with patience and finishes in a blaze of speed. It's heard something, a helmeted guinea fowl. At a foot high and weighing over 2 kilograms, it's big prey for the serval. Unlike many birds, the guinea fowl gets its initial lift into the air not from its wings, but from its powerful legs. It stores elastic energy in its leg muscles and releases it just before the vertical jump that gets it airborne. For an ungainly-looking bird, guinea fowl are notoriously hard for predators to snag. But the serval is not impressed. It has a few tricks of its own. The guinea fowl knows it's a target. When the serval runs, it moves vertically as well as horizontally, so it can keep track of its target. Despite these bursts of speed, the serval's long legs are adapted for pouncing, not running. Muscles transmit forces via tendons in the elongated toe bones that behave like springs. The tendons act as power amplifiers, storing the energy of the muscular work, then releasing it quickly to power the serval off the ground. As it closes in, the guinea fowl shows its hand, a powerful leap into space. But the serval has one better. Unfortunately for the cat, it's a miss. But there's another chance. The serval is good for another leap. Second time lucky. This is the black sparrowhawk, the spirit of the forest in all its high-speed glory. Constantly alert for the presence of some weaker creature, it must hunt in one of the toughest environments on Earth. The black sparrowhawk is big, fast, and acrobatic. It has to be. The sparrowhawk has a particular genius. It navigates the dense forest cover at high speed, all the while keeping its eye fixed on the prize. Brilliant aerodynamics are at work as the raptor deftly avoids obstacles. Then it dives below the radar, pulling up from below. The monsters we fear the most are the ones we don't see. The ones that live in the dark, beneath the forest canopy. They come at their victims with blinding bursts of speed. If you even lay eyes on an underworld predator, it's probably too late. Ocean creatures combine hydrodynamic design with stealth and subterfuge. Death is swift. A world of action is hiding in the blink of an eye. The ocean is deceptively speedy. Tidal bulges sweep around the Earth in just over a day. And when this water volume partners with the wind, it unleashes astonishing force. Waves crash with the power of a battering ram. Little survives a direct onslaught. Mountains erode in their wake. As humans, we're acutely aware of the devastation the ocean delivers. 800 times denser than air, it packs a punch. So how do creatures live inside the monster? Water, when compared to air, is like glue. To us, water is thick and heavy, and powerful ocean currents sweep around the globe. So surviving in the sea isn't easy. Whatever isn't attached to a rocky reef or hanging on for dear life can be carried aimlessly for thousands of miles. But one design evolved to thrive in the ocean. The fish shape triumphed. With over 500 million years of inspiration, fish turned ocean challenges into opportunities for speed. Their internal organs fit into a compact, streamlined body. One of their engineering secrets is the swim bladder. It absorbs or releases air to control buoyancy. Since the swim bladder keeps it afloat, the fish can use all its muscle power for propulsion. And the driver for this liquid speed is the tail, where nuances in structure determine the trade-off between maneuverability and speed. A broad tail with a large surface area is great for tight turns and quick starts, but not for sustained speed. While the split tail is extremely fast over long distances, but isn't agile. One tail offers the best of both worlds. The forked tail has a large surface for agility, but it's split for speed and endurance too. Here, form follows function. This tail is perfect for communal living. 80% of fish congregate in schools. It's a survival tactic. If you stick together, you confuse predators. But schooling only works if you're coordinated. And a forked tail allows for quick, unified reactions to direction changes. Sardines are the proverbial experts, gathering in schools of millions. With sideways-facing eyes, sardines react immediately to the movements of a next-door neighbor. The downside to group living? Everything wants to eat you. Sardines set the bar high, and one group of killers easily meets their challenge. Game fish are the speed demons of the ocean. Top spot goes to the sailfish. As fast as a cheetah, the sailfish can catch anything it wants to. And right up there, clocking an impressive 88 kilometers per hour, is the tuna. Both the sailfish and the tuna sport a speedy crescent tail. A narrow base with hardly any surface area means drag is reduced to power the fish forward. When these speed racers set their sights on sardines, the little fish don't stand a chance. Other predators also chase the moving banquet. Sharks are also powered with a crescent tail, but additional features enhance their performance. Their skin is covered in minute tooth-like structures that overlap, so water slides right off this smooth enamel surface. Muscles attach directly to this external skeleton, so movement converts immediately to thrust. Their lateral line, a unique sense organ, detects the tiny electric impulses from individual fish within a school. Sharks' eyes adjust for low light, vital for hunting sardines. Sharks don't nibble at the edges like game fish. They plow into the middle of the feast. Equipped for speed in the darkness, sharks can take advantage of the mother lode. Pupils dilate, and a mirror behind the retina pumps in additional light. Their fishy sixth sense transmits the timing for the strike. Sharks are top-notch hunters, but there's a superior sardine chaser out there. These killers are not fish. They don't react to prey. they control it. A dolphin's trump card is hidden inside it. Their mammalian brain allows them to strategize. They whistle and communicate with each other to plan their attack, giving them speed with purpose. Head on at 46 kilometers per hour and no collisions. There's nothing impulsive about this sardine hunt. Teams are responsible for specific tasks. Some blow walls of bubbles to confuse. Others circle the school to drive fish into a tighter bunch. And another team will swim into the middle of the sardines to feed. Instructions are issued, and the hunt begins. Herded by the dolphins, the sardines are assembled for another assault. It's the airborne division. Plunging down more than 3 stories, Cape Gannets dive bomb the sardines. Beneath the waves, bird morphs into fish. Hold their breath for 40 seconds, so if they don't hit their target on impact, they simply give chase. Speed and surprise outmaneuver their prey. Most fish are swallowed before they return to the surface. Their pace underwater comes from the height they drop. 30 meters up, to be precise. When they spot the sardine shoal, their attack begins. Gannets take the gold medal for diving. They strike the water at a bone-crunching 96 kilometers per hour. For maximum acceleration, they streamline their bodies. Wings and feet tuck away, so it's a javelin spear that pierces the water. But it takes more than aerial contortionism to make a diving champion. They plummet headfirst. That's instantaneous whiplash, fracture, and concussion for a human. So Gannet's safety features come standard. Its beak has no external nostrils into which water might be forced. An extra thick skull bone acts as a crash helmet. And air pockets inside the skull protect the brain like bubble wrap. They throw themselves into a backwards dive to slice the ocean. Horizontal momentum flips to a vertical drop. Head and body align in an arrow-like posture. And the shock of impact is absorbed by the air pockets. This 5-star safety design works unobtrusively to complement speed. If sardines are near the surface, they're an instant meal. But gannets are also equipped to swim for their supper. Despite their skill in the water, adult gannets don't live at sea. They have to return to the nest. So after a short break, it's time to whip out another specialty. A water takeoff. And not off a calm ocean. The rougher, the better. Webbed feet which disappeared for an efficient dive now push against the ocean like a solid surface. Running on water builds momentum, but it's the wind on the surface that provides the lift. On the horizon. But finding your place in the crowd can be downright dangerous. "70,000 gannet nests cram onto a site the size of a football field. To us, every bird looks the same. Every egg is identical. And every chick is just as ugly. Chaos reigns supreme on this rocky outcrop. You can't blame a guy for getting lost. Eyes that accurately target a fish underwater are confused above this ocean of white. He's listening for the all clear from ground control. But it makes sense to maintain a holding pattern till you're certain. There'll be hell to pay if he ends up in the wrong neighborhood. With nests only pecking distance apart, it's a common problem. Intruders pay for their mistakes. This male is lucky to escape with his life and his eyes. Eventually, he sees something he recognizes. His chick and mate, impatient for his return. He's brought lunch in his belly, and his youngster wastes no time helping himself. 10 centimeters of beak rammed straight down Dad's throat. It's a good thing he's an expert fisherman. Junior will demolish 3 bellyfuls of sardine every day for 3 months. With Dad now on feeding and babysitting duties, Mum must catch the next meal. Taking off from this island is tough with no wind and no space. Gannets aren't equipped for vertical takeoff. So despite the overcrowding issue, they've built an airstrip, 10 meters of runway on the edge of the colony. They have to create their own wind. With a running start, they can generate enough momentum for liftoff. But even that's no guarantee. A quick equipment check and our mum's ready. Claws grip like cleats for traction. Each downstroke of her wings provides upward thrust. Then the physics of flight kicks in. Lift overcomes weight, and she's airborne. Just offshore, an air-breathing mammal. Completely at home in this watery world. Humans are drawn to these sea dogs because of all the ocean's creatures. Seals know how to have fun. They dedicate speed and agility to playtime. Their looping games happen at 16 kilometers an hour. Families come together in the safety of the shallows and practice moves they'll need in the open ocean. The reason for this ease underwater is an extremely flexible spine with bones that can twist like a corkscrew and back again. Extra large neck vertebrae and thick muscles mean there's no narrowing at the neck. The head flows into the body for a perfectly hydrodynamic profile. Seals are one of the most agile animals in water. But this beauty has a dark side. Seals are killers, and every move they perfect makes them better at it. Games are over. It's time to hunt. His destination, Gannet Island. But there's been a color shift in this neighborhood, and juvenile numbers are up 50%. They practice madly for the biggest challenge of their life. This salt and pepper plumage means they're ready to leave home. It's a harsh jolt into adulthood. With no warning, gannet parents just stop feeding their youngsters. Begging doesn't change anything. Today, the lunchbox is empty. Many are in the same boat. From now on, if they want fish, they'll have to catch their own. The clock is ticking. After 10 days without food, they'll die. To eat, they first have to fly. They haven't learned how to use the runway. So most youngsters wander to the edges of the island, where the wind can give them a boost. It's a punishing location for flight school. But starvation is a strong motivator. Wings that have never carried weight before test the breeze. Every wing beat builds confidence. They practice maneuvers they'll need in the air, flex muscles that must fly, dive, and swim. But simulation will only take them so far. They have to find food or die trying. For some, it's a disaster. They don't yet have the muscle strength. And there's just not enough wind for lift. Waves punish failure here. Soggy wings only make it even tougher. And every wave saps more energy. Even if they make it back, there's no guarantee of success. Scavengers wait for them to quit. A quarter of all juveniles never make it off the island. But there are worse things than a rough ocean. And another reason for the gannet's terrible survival statistics. This shadowy spectre capitalizes on the juvenile's failed takeoff. Cape fur seals thrive in turbulent waters. And now the gannet knows it's being hunted. It tries to anticipate the seal's approach. Predator and prey, face to face. The gannet's going nowhere. the seal can take its time. It's no contest against a sitting duck. As the gannet washes further out to sea, the seal can plan a death blow. Neck muscles unleash with the intensity of a pit bull. Jaws clamp in a vice grip, and thrashing rips the gannet's body apart. Unable to chew, the seal must tear off chunks of flesh to swallow whole. With the odds violently in favor of the seal, the outcome is inevitable. But it isn't always the case. All the juveniles need for flight are the right conditions. The wind off the sea brings greater lift. Their flight simulation pays off. As the breeze builds, they're away. But this is just the first baby step. Out on the ocean, the youngsters must prepare for a whole new set of lessons. Beneath the waves, some juveniles fish with confidence. They've made it, despite the odds. And a seal would think twice about an underwater attack within range of those beaks. Speed battles are not only fought on the high seas, death occurs in unexpected places too. This is not the tranquil paradise it seems. Coral reefs host 1/4 of all marine species. They're a hotbed of diversity. In this crowded metropolis, every niche is overtraded. Whether you're a hungry predator or its unlucky prey, you have to have a clever business plan to make it here. This reef is no sanctuary, and danger becomes visible when the action is slowed down. Millions of lives lived in close proximity comes at a cost. Everyone is a potential meal. One strategy is to keep moving, or find somewhere to hide. Appoint a lookout. Take cover at the first warning. Down here, speed can save your life. But you don't have to move if you can't be seen. One creature hides in plain sight. Every body part is disguised to mimic the reef. Skin is textured like coral-encrusted rock, and even eyes mimic seaweed. Scorpionfish disappear into their surroundings. There are many varieties, but all have a single purpose: to ambush prey. Speed is their weapon of choice. Some species remain motionless for days at a time, while others seek more favorable hunting grounds. Their strategy is patience for the perfect opportunity. Nothing is what it seems. On this reef, rocks have eyes. The scorpionfish is hungry, but he has to wait for the prey to come closer. The frustration of the sit-and-wait predator. Beaten by a neighbor in a better location. The snake on the left is another type of scorpionfish, the aptly named stonefish. There were two predators waiting all the time, and the scorpionfish lucked out. Prey vanishes in an instant. In less than 1/100th of a second, the fish's lunch. Their method is gape and suck. All scorpionfish expand the volume of their mouth and throat in a split second, with extra pleated skin concealed in their oral cavity. The difference in pressure between the inside of the mouth and the outside environment vacuums prey in. It's so effective that the water around the fish is like a solid object, sucked into the maw. The strategy is devastatingly effective when a fish swims into the strike zone. They do occasionally miss, when their lunge is too short or too ambitious. But when they're on form, death is instantaneous. And what have the scorpionfish outgunned for his meal? Perhaps a new location will do the trick. There are plenty of new victims to con. Jackpot. His target is a little big, but the technique works. When night descends on the reef, activity slows down for certain creatures. Some keel over for a quick nap or camp out with friends. One option is to sleep with eyes open or grab an hour's nap between breaths. But nothing sleeps in the deep ocean. Down here, night brings murder. As the sun sets, millions of minute animals rise from the depths to feed. And predators follow. One hunter blends into the darkness. But our cameras expose the invisible. It is Loligo reynaudi, a calamari squid. Prey never see it coming. Concealed weapons train onto its victim, accurate from a meter away. Capture tentacles explode in a quarter of a second. The mechanism is similar to toothpaste being squeezed out of a tube. Crossed outer muscles compress and squeeze the inner muscles forward, towards the prey. Over 50 suction cups on each club prevent escape. Food is pulled straight back to the mouth at the base of the tentacles. And a parrot-shaped beak tears flesh into smaller, more manageable pieces. Fish digested, the squid disappears to search for his next meal. But once a year, the tables turn. Hunter becomes hunted. This orange garden is a battleground. These are not clumps of seaweed, they're egg sacs. Each finger-sized case is filled with hundreds of individual squid embryos waiting to hatch. Because at the beginning of summer, the squids leave the safety of their deep domain and gather in the shallows to spawn. It's a stressful time. They're not top dog up here. Without the cloak of darkness, they're vulnerable. Only speed can save them. Their getaway strategy is jet propulsion. Water is sucked into the mantle cavity behind the head and expelled through the funnel in an explosive jet. Thick muscles around the mantle contract to force water out. Lightning-fast direction changes are possible with a quick swivel of the siphon. It's an impressive setup. Squid are 3 times faster than sardines. Speed makes them daunting predators in the dark and gives them a fighting chance in the shallows. But while these females are busy laying eggs, it's the perfect time for a hungry predator to catch them off guard. This ocean hoover may look lethargic, but he is capable of sudden bursts of speed, flapping his pectoral wings with enough force to create an audible bang. He isn't after the eggs. He combs the beds for careless females. A squirt of ink distracts him. But he rallies and makes a kill. The squids don't hang around. They head for the safety of the deep, leaving their spawn to fend for themselves. Safe in their embryonic jelly, these juveniles are growing, unaware of the dramas playing out above their nursery. They hatch as complete replicas of their parents, with capture tentacles and siphons ready to propel them into the dark. The reef is home to another unusual speed freak, a boxing champion with the fastest punch in the world. Yet this explosive violence is packaged in a weird lobster-like body. The mantis shrimp is neither mantis nor shrimp. It might look like its ocean cousin and pose like the land-living insect, but this critter is in a class of its own. Hinged arms with clubs for boxing gloves, unfurl as fast as a .22 caliber bullet, impossible to see at normal speed. Prey is quite literally smashed to pieces. It's the fastest move in the ocean. And if you're that quick, you'd better have accurate eyesight. The mantis shrimp's vision is out of this world. It has the most complex eyes in the animal kingdom, with 12 different light receptors for color analysis, 3 times more than a human. It sees in all directions at the same time, with unsurpassed depth perception to accurately pinpoint prey. Bad news for this crab. A punch reaches speeds of 80 kilometers per hour in 3 milliseconds, way faster than muscles alone could ever achieve. Their secret? A subtle-shaped part of the exoskeleton, which acts like a spring. The mantis shrimp uses this spring and a latch mechanism to store energy, amplifying the strike speed generated by the muscles. A system of pivots at the leg joints further increases the blistering speed of the punch. Arm cocked, spring release, bullseye at 22 meters per second. It's no fair fight. The crab loses by a knockout. All across the ocean, the rules don't change. From biggest to smallest, life is a race for survival, and speed can place you first or last. Ultimate fins, dive bombers, stealth attacks. With over 3 billion years to get inventive, ocean creatures have exploded the design envelope wide open. in their quest for speed.